Hi there, my name's Taya and I work at the Live Oak Public Library and I'm in charge of the adult craft program over here. So we have decided to bring you a virtual craft this month, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a step-by-step DIY birch tree painting. I'm going to walk you through the steps. It's very easy, very simple, and we shall have a good time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the materials needed to complete this craft. The first thing you are going to need is a canvas or canvas board. I'm using the canvas board because it's a little stiffer and easier to handle. You're also going to need paint. I've got some black, some white, and a little kind of soft green just for a little bit of color and variety, but you only really need black and white paint. You're also going to need some masking tape and a pair of scissors, a cup of water, and then some paintbrushes. So the first step is we are going to line the outside of our canvas with masking tape to ensure that we don't paint those parts, and it'll give us a border around our portrait. So we're going to just tape straight along the edge, and it'll give us a little bit of a border, and you're going to do that on all four sides. Alright, so our first step is done. We have our border all taped on there, as you can see, all four sides. So the next step is we're going to continue on with our tape, and we're going to create these trees. And these trees are created by cutting the tape and using them across there. You can do some a little crooked, some a little narrower, some a little thicker. I'll kind of show you real quick how to do that. So you're going to want to make sure your tape is long enough to reach across the whole canvas. And we're going to set it right on there. And then we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut it to the shape we want. So I'm going to make this tree a little narrower than the standard tape size, and we are going to cut all the way down the tape. So now that you've got your piece of tape completely cut, you're just going to go ahead and lay it in whichever way you want on your canvas. It doesn't have to be completely straight. As you can see, I'm doing mine a little bit crooked because no tree in the wildlife is really straight. So we want this to be as realistic as possible. And you're going to continue this across your whole canvas until you're satisfied. All right, as you can see, I have all of my tape placed across the canvas, and those are going to be the trees. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a thicker, wider paintbrush, and we're going to take some black paint, and we are going to paint all of the open spaces between the tape across the whole canvas. So if you have exposed canvas, you're going to paint it black, and you're just going to cover the whole canvas. So now that our board is completely painted and for the most part dry, we are good to go ahead and take all of our tape off. So you're just going to very carefully and very slowly peel your tape off your canvas and try not to disturb any of the possibly still damp tape. Now that all of the tape has been removed from our canvas, you can clearly see that we have the trunks of our birch trees. So our next step is going to be to work on the branches of the tree. And in the demo picture, you can kind of see that they're just little wisps of branches coming off of the tree trunks. That's going to be our next step. What you're going to need is a small, thin, little paintbrush and some white paint. And you're just going to slightly dip into the paint and just come off your tree with faint little brush strokes. And you can just kind of have fun with this. It's some creative liberties. You can do them thicker, thinner. You can do multiple. You can only do a couple. This one is just completely up to your creative desires, and you just do these on all of your trees however you want, with just light little brush strokes just to add some branches. So now our branches are completely painted on and dried, so our next step is to do the bark on the trees, which is going to be signified by these black lines on the trees. I also have decided to add a little touch of this pretty green color because I feel like it'll just give it a little bit of pop and not so black and white. So we're going to do that very simply. So we are going to do the lines, and you're just going to use that small brush again and just come onto the bark a little bit. You can do some a little longer, some a little shorter, but you're going to do them on both sides of the tree, wherever you want. This is another thing that's just kind of up to you and your creativity, but as you can see, it just adds a little bit extra to make it a little more tree-like and really adds that birch quality. So you're just going to do that on all your trees. And as I said, I'm going to do some with a little bit of a green just to add some color. You don't have to if you want to do some with any kind of color. realistic or not, that's completely up to you. Alright, so our bark is all finished, and the final step in this project right now is we are going to splatter some white onto it just as a final touch to provide these little droplets right here. So splattering is fairly simple. You're going to take a small paintbrush and dip it in water and then into the white paint, and you're going to get some paint on your fingers for this, but it'll wash off. So you're going to take it and aim it at the canvas and flick it backwards, and it's going to splatter onto the canvas and create a snow-like effect in your birch forest. You can do this as little or as much as you want, but that's how you're going to finish out the piece, by just splattering it onto there. And this is optional. You don't have to do it. It just adds for an added effect. This is what my final product looks like, and yours should look similar in some regard. As I said, I chose to do black, white, and green. You could have chosen to do black, white, and blue, or just simply black and white. I hope you enjoyed today's craft. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to check out our future videos from Suwannee River Regional Library.